studying effortlessly. You won't try to study, you will study. It's not just what you're thinking.
I don't care if somebody's morning routine is 20 minutes. If it is a focused 20 minutes, it is much more powerful than an unfocused 90 minutes.
So I want to get into standard, and I know that has been a huge lesson that you've learned, and you've taught myself as well what standard is. And I was operating with a certain standard, and everyone is operating with a standard right now. But you teach people how to consciously create a standard. How do you go about that?
You know, standard is very dear to my heart. Anybody who's been coached by me knows I believe our personal standard is our DNA to success. I think it's a foundation. I always say self-image is our foundation to success, but standard is ahead of, it's so correlated with self-image. They're so tied together, but when we're working with how do we increase our image, we got to hold a standard. And standard is, I am living up here from this point on. I am not accepting anything under this. Now you have to be disciplined enough to say no to anything that is under this. Now, you may have people in your life who say, let's go do this or let's do this, but that's not how you want to live anymore. You have to be strong enough to say no. Now, all of us you woke up today with some type of standard, like what you would settle or not settle for. When you're consciously creating a standard, you're saying no to everything else in every area of your life, whether it's your income, your health, your friendships, your personal relationship with yourself, you as a mother, you as a father, you as a friend, you're going to raise up to your new standard. And then what's going to be great, that standard's going to raise, and then keep raising. And I encourage everyone to consciously be aware, say, these are my non-negotiables. I'm not going to settle for anything under this. And you do not settle. You hold true to that. You have to really hold that true. And if you do, standard will change your life. If that's the only thing you change, your world is changing for the better.
So this, with standard, is definitely got to bring out your dog. You have taught me that lesson, is really bringing out that dog. And dog to me is grit, confidence, perseverance, tenacity, really, again, blazing your trail and not worrying about what anyone else is thinking. I think a lot of people are really worried what other people are thinking, what their family, friends, and even if they have a big idea, they're really afraid to act upon it. So that inner dog, we all have that inside of us, don't we?
Yeah, we all have a dog. And we got to understand, when we have a dog, we're instinctual. We're not letting our intellect control us. We're not saying, well, I've got to do this, this, and this. When we understand, when we're at our best is when we let our instinct drive our actions, our instinct drive our thinking, not our intellect. When we let our intellect, that's a passive moment. And when we trust our intuition, that's what instinct is. You let the dog out. You're playing to win. You're not playing not to lose. And we have this muscle that you want to develop. It's an I don't give a fuck muscle. Like, we've got to go after it. And when we go after it, we really do not care. It's not for other people. It's not like, oh, this is an ego thing. It means you are not worried about what somebody else is doing, what somebody else is saying. And when you have that going for you, you're going to be the best version of yourself. Now, do you want to run with leaders? Do you want to run with sheep? Do you want to fly with the eagles or the sheep? Everybody who's wanting to conform to their reality, to their environment, they are not going further. We do not want to be the smartest people in the room. We want to be so uncomfortable that we're going to new and new levels because we're going to get new and new ideas and new thinking. And that only happens if we have a dog mentality. And I love this term. And it's not D-O-G, it's D-A-W-G, all caps, all exclamation points, because that's how we lead from example.
Speaking of leadership, you have to lead yourself before you lead anyone else. When I started out, I said, okay, I want to start leading my family. And you said to me something that was so impactful. I don't even know if you remember this, but you said, Monica, when you do that internal shift, everything around the external shift will happen automatically. And that just gave me so much belief. I thought, geez, that sounds amazing. At the time, I didn't really know what it was going to look like, but I knew it was possible. You infused this belief in me that I carried, and I locked it in my heart. And every time it was hard, I would go into that and I would remember that. So I was leading myself to a certain level. What would you give someone who is having a hard time in an environment that they can't lead themselves in the moment, but they have to find that inner fuel that sets their soul on fire to start that first step?
Well, the first thing we have to understand that everything's an inside-out job. What I accept inside, I'm going to see on the outside. Let's look at our results. When I was struggling, when you were struggling, that was a reflection of what was going on inside of us. That was the attitude that we were holding. And now, when I told you that all you have to do is lead yourself, well, before I could get you to lead yourself, you had to have a want. It wasn't even a goal yet. A want is not a goal. A want is just something bigger than what we have right now. Then when we emotionally get involved with it, we turn it into a goal and turn it into a desire. Then you can start leading yourself. You were at a point where you knew what you wanted. And I knew you knew what you wanted. And I knew you were committed to it. You just didn't know how in the heck you were going to do it. But the beautiful part is I knew because of where I was, there's always somebody, like I said earlier, who's a higher awareness. You know, when I went to my mentor, he had a higher awareness so he could show me. And it's no different, but to lead, we're leading all the time. You know, maybe not well, but somebody's leading somebody all the time. And with ourselves, we're leading ourselves all the time. Now, we could be leading ourselves down the wrong hole, but we are leading. But if you want to lead properly, and lead by example is the best way to lead, in my opinion, we have to have a definite goal. We have to have a definite want to take us from where we are to where we want to go.
Let's go back to failure. So you failed multiple times. Every day you fail. Same with me. Every day we're failing our way forward without the loss of enthusiasm. Do you think that that's the greatest secret of life?
I don't know that answer. I don't know if it's the greatest secret. It's one of the secrets. You know, I think fear is a great illusion of life. I think once we understand fear better, that fear is just feedback of what goes on inside of us. Failure is a relationship that you want to create a real strong bond with, because we're failing every day, and we want to fail every day because we're willing to go to those marks that the masses are not willing to go to. And what I mean about that is you're willing to fail, you're willing to put yourself on the line, even though you know it might not work. But you still, then as soon as you get the failure, quote unquote failure or setback, you get back again on that ledge, you do it again, you get hit again, then you do it again, then you create a massive breakthrough. You have to live life without losing enthusiasm, but that's where you live inside out. When we're living outside in, like I did for most of my life until I learned this material and learned the philosophy of success, is I was constantly, I'd be high when I was doing things really good, then I'd be just as low when that wasn't happening. So I wasn't living based in being in control of myself. I was just reacting to the circumstance. And when we're looking at failure and you don't lose enthusiasm, really what you're saying is, I'm going after what I want no matter what. I already know I'm going to get there. And whether it's this action step or not, or this day or not, I'm still going. And I do think that's a key to success. I think that's one of the founding characteristics to being willing to play to win and play not to lose. And you could go so deep with this because it goes directly to your relationship with fear, what I was telling you earlier. A lot of people are fearful because they're believing in something invisible. And I always say fear and faith live in the same house, just on different floors. They're both invisible. You have to believe in it. But why are we conditioned growing up to believe in fear? Because everything is outside in. Well, when we believe in faith, because any goal that I've achieved, I've had to put a great deal of faith in. And I'm talking a big thing. A big thing that you've achieved. If everyone sits back right now and thinks something amazing they achieved, I guarantee they had a great deal of faith. And faith isn't just moving mountains. If you need to move 16, you move 18. If you need to move 18, you move 22. You do whatever it takes. Once you have a whatever it take attitude, then whether you fail or not, you know you're going to keep, you know by the end of the week, if you have this attitude, and this is an attitude that you embrace failure. Now, you don't have a bad relationship, but you embrace it. That is an attitude that is going to propel you.
That is so good. That is so good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Arash, for sharing all your knowledge and wisdom with us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.